strolling along the promenade just at the end of the First World War. About 1920. The western end of the promenade. A few people in deck chairs on the beach. And that's the Cafe Marina. About 1924 or 5. That was at the western end of the promenade in Penzance. That's the Beachfield Hotel at the bottom of Alexander Road. And in the background the Cafe Marina. And that was in the mid-20s. The monument there is now at Penzance Rugby Ground. Another view of Penzance Promenade. And there's no pavilion built up to that time. That's a view of the bathing pool, the Jubilee pool, built in 1935. And that's the opening of the pool. That was also in 1935. Artists in Newlyn in 1884. Among them, Stanhope Forbes, on the right to the front row. And that is Stanhope Forbes at work. It's Bow Street, Newlyn. Some more artists on the cliff at Newlyn. Couple of fishermen's wives. Again, Stanhope Forbes in the middle with a couple of friends. The building where some of the artists used to work in Newlyn many years ago. And that's Penley House, District Museum and Art Gallery. And that was the Chindower Smelting House. And that's the Serpentine Works in Werrytown, Penzance. More or less opposite where the little inn is now, the Mounts Bay Inn, and it's a car park, more or less where that stands. There's a wagon load of stone at Wharf Road, Penzance, heading towards the railway station. And that's the flour mill at Gulville. Belonged to Mr. R.M. Branwell. That's Branwell's wheelwright shop. It closed down in 1903. That's Penley Quarry at Newlyn and Janner's Train. The engine was built in 1901 by a firm in Germany. And there is the little engine. Taking a load of chippings down to the boat at Newlyn Harbour. And that's the little bridge at Werrytown, Penzance. And the house in the background somewhere near where the old Western National Garage used to be, and which is now Lidl's. There they are, gathering daffodils. There they are again, harvesting the corn. And now break time with a nice Great Cornish pasty. Having croust, they used to call it in old times. Digging up some big boulders so that they can plough the land, I suppose. That looks a nice old machine. Not quite a penny farthing. He was a blacksmith from Killinnick, near St Just. Some fine horses there, towing a wagon with a menagerie in. This horse-drawn vehicle was used in Penzance at the turn of the century. There's a wagonette that ran between Penzance and St Just. At the moment travelling into town through Overton. This one travelled from Penzance to Logan Rock and Land's End. This one probably travelling towards Land's End in the 1880s. This one's on the promenade outside the Mounts Bay Hotel. And that one belonged to the Queen's Hotel. An old bus operated by the Great Western Railway. That was the 1920s, early 1920s, when the age of steam was coming to an end. Except for the railways, of course. One of the old railway sheds at Penzance railway station. That is Penzance railway station. Looking up through the main street, Market Jew Street. And that's the old wooden viaduct at Chindower. And that is Chindower. Hasn't changed all that much. There's a building on the left here that's gone. That's the Cornish Riviera, bound for London. 1st of July 1904. Just leaving Penzance. And that's the Riviera coming down from London on the same day, and the engine was named Paddington. That's Penzance Station in 1912. And on the left a steam-powered rail car. And on the right, where the seats are, that is now number 1 platform. That's Graham White and his aeroplane at Tringwayton, September 1913. And that's Sandy Cove, Newlyn. It was a seaplane base during the First World War. That was 1937, leaving St. Just Airport for the Channel Islands. That's one of the fishwives in Newlyn, somewhere in the late 1800s. Cutting the fish in Newlyn. A lot of the fish then went to Italy. And there's the fishing fleet laying off the harbour. And there's a lady repairing the fishing nets. And there's a few more in the harbour this time. And that's the opening of the North Pier in Newlyn, 15th of July 1886. That's the wharf in Penzance, about 1880, and it's where the Jubilee pool now stands. The tip of Penzance Harbour Pier. The huge granite rocks were swept away into the harbour during the storm of 1962. It's a boat leaving Penzance Harbour with a load of stone from Newlyn Quarry on its way to America. Three young lads at Abbey Slip, Penzance.